Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Gaming Zone. I'm Chriz, aka the Mole. Joining me is Anastasia Lazerbeam.
Hello.
And today we're here to review Vampyr.
Ah.
Huh? Okay, no. Vampyr, spelled like that so they can probably copyright it, which is awesome. I like this game. It's a little RPG. I will say this won't be for everyone. More on that when we go through this. But I genuinely enjoy this. The idea is you play as a Jonathan Reed, who, well, based on his name, you can tell he's a doctor. He specializes in blood transfusions and stuff like that. And ironically, he wakes up as a vampire. Like, literally, the game starts off with you being a vampire. And you're like, oh, that's so cool. And then it's kind of a mystery, find out what's happened, why you were turned. And you find out there's an infestation going on in London, which is making, I think they're called, what the hell do they call them? Scarabs, I think they pronounce them, which are like vampires that are like leprosy vampires, if you will, because they're like got all their skin fucked up and they act like zombies, basically, like they're completely mindless. He isn't really a vampire, he's an econ, I believe they called it. He called it in the game, which, as they say, is the closest to what humans call a vampire in their mythologies and stuff. But it's the real term because they obviously would have had their name before humans came up with vampires. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Doesn't need to be there, but that doesn't need to not be there either, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the whole game is like an RPG. As you're going through, you pick your weapons. You get to level up various skill trees. One thing that's super handy, you can reset your skill tree at any time.
That's cool. I like when games can do that.
Well, assuming you're in a bed, because that's where you set the bed. You have to use a bed to use your skill points and sleep and stuff, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but more on that bit later. But yeah, you're free to completely change your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, last boss, you can't buy the last boss of the game. I will say there will be some spoilers in here. I'll try to keep as much as I can not spoilerish, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them I'm going to have to mention. But yeah, the last boss, I'm not going to say what it is, but you can't bite it. Therefore, because I had a skill tree that would essentially had improved my bite so much and what I got from it, I was like level 37, 38 at the end, and the boss instantly transforms into a level 51, which you can't reach in the game, or I couldn't anyway. And I'm like, well, no, fuck you. Fuck you. All the enemies up until now have been level 31, 32. They've been manageable. Don't turn into 50. What the fuck's wrong with you? And so after I failed to kill her the first couple of times, I went back to the bed and I reset my points to focus on what would kill her and not necessarily have my bites and stuff, which it worked. It was super handy. Like, I changed my ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got like different with the skill trees. There's like ultimate moves. One of the ultimate moves, the one I was using originally, goes blah, and it does like tentacle black shadow stuff into all the enemies around you, which is handy and it does some damage. This one, however, that's good for her is a shadow one where like tentacles come out the ground, grab her, lift her up, and slam her down. But as doing that, the whole time you're able to hit her or use a little knife or something to go and get some blood out of her because one of the blood fuels your heal that you can use in some of your other moves. So it's cool to chain it up so you can do that later.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's 4 endings to the game. Essentially, there's 2 endings, but there's 2 variations of those endings. There's a really, really good ending. There's a good ending. It's not quite as good as that ending, but it's the same thing, basically, with like minor differences. There's a bad ending, and then there's a completely fucked up bad ending, which I got.
You always seem to get the fucked up bad endings.
Because one thing this game does is, in order to level up and get more XP, you have to feed on people.
Okay.
And it makes the game easier. But at the end of the game, that makes you completely psycho evil if you fed on too many people. the good ending, they want you to try and avoid killing people and try not to bite people, which is a lot harder. Which, I'll admit, no, I did. I went through the game and I ate everyone. When at the end, when my mesmerize, which is like a hypnosis thing, when that was up to the point, I could now do it to doctors, nurses, even shopkeepers who were previously selling me stuff. I went, oh, ooh, and it was like myself in a buffet. I was like, ooh, yes, I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna eat you. Oh, you were slagging me off earlier, weren't you? Just take them back, take them into the back and just eat them and be like, oh, it's so cool. I ate fucking everyone except one guy. There was one guy in this entire game I didn't eat, but I had the choice to.
Yeah.
Because he was this like Irish priest guy who hates vampires. And was killing me. So at the end, when I got the choice, instead of killing him or sparing him, I turned him into a vampire. Because I'm like, haha, it amuses me to know he's going to be fucked up hating vampires while being one.
There you go.
Does come later on in the game, I do see him, and he's completely transformed into a vampire, and he's just fucking laying waste to everything that's in his path when he's killing everyone. And he teams up to help me when he's like, yeah, don't think this isn't over between us. This will be your undoing. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. The one person I didn't kill will be my undoing. Sounds about right. But yeah, the ending I got is just completely fucked up. I'm not going to say too much on what the ending was, but just in case you end up playing it, Pew. But I will say my main ending. He says to his main love interest, the woman he loves, he says to her, come on, please, let me help you. You can trust me. To which she responds by naming a load of characters in the game I killed, and then goes, you can't be trusted. I love you, but you cannot be trusted. And I'm like, yeah, that's valid. At last, the game's called you out on that bullshit. It's like in Mass Effect, they don't call it, as much as I love Mass Effect, there's some choices they should call you on a hell of a lot more than they do.
Yeah. Like kicking a guy out the window.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the choices in this don't affect the gameplay as much as they could. That's kind of negative. But they do have certain impacts. Like, if you eat enough people in a district, it gets worried and hostile. If you eat more people than that, I think it is, there's no one left. So essentially, all that becomes then is like the zombie versions. Which, to get the level up, you have to eat people. Then when you go to bed, as you go to bed, that's when people will discover the body and all the changes will happen as it's leveling you up.
Yeah.
I did that in the hospital after I did all the doctors, all the patients, all the people outside, and the mother outside who was upset because he took her suicidal son and then ate him.
Could you make like a vampire town? Like, could you convert everybody?
You can only convert 3 or 4 people in the whole game, and they're story-based decisions whether or not you turn them.
Oh, okay.
And they come with some negative implications too. Like if you turn them, you lose, I think, like 2,000 XP. But which sounds like a lot. But if you eat more people and do it, it's not too much. But so it can balance out. But yeah, with the thing, I did that in the hospital. Woke up, the hospital was now hostile. And I couldn't get out my base because the stairs were now blocked off because down below's all enemies. And I'm like, oh. And luckily I found out one of the windows had then opened so I can get out that way. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I thought I'd locked myself in here.
There you go.
But we don't like that. There's various sewers. There's different factions. There is side stories, which you'll be happy about, Pew.
Oh, I love side stories.
Which they become a thing of side stories versus becoming more powerful.
Woo!
If you eat the person, you can't do their side story. But if you do their side story enough, or if you complete their side story, they leave, so you can't get these. You know what I mean? You can't eat something. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. If it helps, I did some extra eating, but I didn't have to.
There you go.
One guy told me exactly where he lived, So after I ate him, I went and ate his wife in her house by making her let me in. When I could mesmerize him, like, let me in. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I ate her. Another guy was constantly telling me, yeah, nothing's going to come between me and my son, which is why I put a picture on Twitter of challenge accepted. And the pictures was him saying that and then me just eating his son and leaving him dead in the middle of his living room.
Huh.
His son was tasty. He was. But now, it's cool because as the RPG evolves, there's various different stuff that you're having to learn. And I enjoyed the story. It depends on what type of story you enjoy. It depends on whether or not you'll like this. Because its combat isn't as in depth as it could be. The choices aren't as in depth as they could be, and but the story. If you're one of those that likes Vampires Masquerade or vampire games in general or vampires, you may really enjoy this because the story can hook you enough. But if you don't, it's arguable whether or not you'll get as much enjoyment out of it. If that makes sense.
Right.
But it's fun, and like I said, you do get different powers. Like you can go and choke people and then attack them, which is fun. And yeah, when I say different factions and stuff, like there's even a vampire, I don't know what you'd call it, but like cult in the city. And this is one of the choices, which will be slight spoilerish, but I can only say the one I've done. But they then tell you that vampire cult takes you in, and they have people around the city who are like your type of vampires, and they take you into the city and they try and teach you and, make you one of them, Pew.
All right.
Then they give you a mission to go and speak to this old guy and to turn him. And I go there to turn him, and this guy's a fucking psycho. Like, he just wants to become young and kill everyone. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be the one to give him no. And you get a choice. You can turn him, you can kill him, or you can spare. You could spare him and say no. I think you could spare him. I'm not sure. I didn't try that. But I did murder the hell out of him and eat his blood and drink him and just leave him dead, which made the vampire cult then turn on me. I was now banned from their building, and I was constantly being attacked by more of that type of vampire enemy as I'm going through the game. Like, and they were just coming out now, and I'm like, that's cool, because if I actually gave him my blood, I might be creating a fucking monster here, but they would like me. So, you know what I mean? So that's just an example of how it could be different, which I enjoyed that.
Did you join a different cult?
Nope, I was on my own. I was the cult of one.
You're cult free after that.
I was a one-man cult. But yeah, and like I said, that's the game, and you can see a bit of screenshots on the back.
Yep.
But yeah, it's fun. It's on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I'm going to give it a thumbs up as my rating. I really like this. I'd be tempted to give it 2, but like I said, it does have some flaws, so I'm going to have to just give it 1. But it's made by, it says here, Don't Nod Entertainment and Focus Home Interactive, which aren't big named publishers, which makes it even more fun than this is. Like that, and yeah, there's different mysteries, side stories, events, and stuff going on as you're playing the game, but you can go off on your own and look and do other stuff. I will tell you, don't go off on your own too much, though. Because it will do the thing you didn't like in Assassin's Creed.
Oh, where it's like you literally can't enter this place because you're not high enough level.
Well, not literally can't, but if you do, there's going to be enemies there that are like 3 times your level and rip you apart.
Ugh.
However, if you can still go back there when you're high enough level and go through all of it and can do all the side stuff that way. It's just a means to make sure that when you are that level, there's enemies for you to face, because the map itself is a really small, condensed down map compared to a lot of big open world games. Thus, it doesn't even need fast travel and stuff because it's all tight knit. So I can excuse it more on this than some games like Destiny, where it's like, this is a level 1 planet. And you're like, cool, one tiny cave. If you go in there, level 30. You know why? Why fucking have that on the tutorial, mate? It's what the no. Why would that be here? Why? But with this one, I'm like, I can understand it because I've got limited room and stuff. But yeah, it's fun, and I recommend people check it out. Vampyr. Yay. So I was your host, Chriz, aka Mole, joined by Anastasia Lazerbeam, aka the Pew Pew.
That's me.
And we will see you next month. And coming up on this channel next month, I got Mario Tennis and maybe a couple of other little reviews. And there's going to be stuff over on the other one as well. So, peace.
Peace.